Today we'll explore what forgiveness means, tips for forgiving others, and how to ask for forgiveness. If you're a coach, consultant, or well-being entrepreneur, grab free science-based content to grow your business by clicking the ebook link in the description below. Have you ever struggled to forgive someone? Held a grudge longer than you wanted? Have you ever felt shame or guilt about hurting someone else and not known how to ask for forgiveness? Forgiveness is essential to maintaining and repairing relationships, but that doesn't make it easy. Many of us struggle to forgive ourselves and others, or to get the forgiveness we want. In this video, I'll talk about forgiveness, how to give it and get it, and why it's important. Forgiveness is letting go of angry feelings and thoughts towards somebody who hurt you and replacing them with positive feelings and thoughts. When we forgive, we accept that something bad happened to us and say that we want to move on. We become willing to see the other person for more than what they did that hurt us. But moving on from anger to more positive emotions can be a lot harder than it sounds. When somebody hurts you, it's natural to want them to feel what you're feeling. Forgiving that person means overriding that natural impulse to strike back. Forgiveness also means deciding to feel positively towards the person who hurt you. At the same time, forgiving is not deciding that what the other person did was justifiable, excusable, or okay. When you forgive someone, you're not absolving them of blame. You're deciding that you don't want to hold what happened against them. What they did was still wrong, at least in your eyes, but letting go of your emotions about it is more important. Whether or not you ever want to interact with that somebody again, you can still forgive them. You might have noticed that when you don't know the person who hurt you very well, it may be easier to let go of the negative emotions. In fact, you might not even need an apology from the person who hurt you. However, forgiving someone you are closer to may require more effort on your part or an apology from that person. Often we forgive when the benefits of forgiving start to seem more important than the benefits of staying angry. We might miss the company of the person we're angry with, or be tired of feeling sad every time we hear their name. The opposite of forgiveness is unforgiveness, or holding on to the anger, sadness, or resentment that comes from being hurt. As I noted previously, it's very common and understandable to have those feelings when somebody has hurt us. There are many reasons why we might hold a grudge instead of forgiving. Holding a grudge may cause the person who hurt us to apologize or change their behavior. As we continue to feel hurt by what happened, we may have difficulty not feeling resentful. Holding a grudge may feel like the best way to ensure we don't get hurt the same way twice, and this can lead us to be unforgiving. When we are unforgiving, we continue feeling angry, resentful, bitter, vengeful, or any of the other feelings associated with being wronged. Unforgiveness also involves negative thoughts about the person who wronged us, such as ill wishes toward the other person or thoughts of revenge. We may remain unforgiving because the people who hurt us don't apologize, take accountability, or change their behaviors. This can be a particularly frustrating experience. So what can we do to forgive even in these difficult circumstances? One option is to try radical forgiveness. Radical forgiveness is forgiveness that occurs in spite of how bad the harmful act seems to be on the surface. This approach poses that everything that happens to us actually happens for us. That is, even the things that are hardest to forgive help us grow, learn, become our true selves, and experience life in new ways. When we forgive radically, we can actually feel great gratitude for the quote-unquote harm done to us. These experiences are the essence of life, and we accept them with appreciation. We still may choose to remove ourselves from the line of fire and end harmful relationships, but we truly forgive the other person. In fact, we don't even believe that what they've done requires forgiveness. It simply is. And so we move on easily and joyfully. Next, let's talk about conditional versus unconditional forgiveness. Conditional forgiveness is forgiveness that can only take place when the person who caused harm engages in certain behaviors. The offending party is typically expected to admit that they did something wrong, acknowledge their responsibility without making excuses, and express regret for what they did. They may also indicate an action they're going to take to make things better. For many people, behaviors like these are a prerequisite for forgiveness. The person who caused harm must do them for forgiveness to be possible. By contrast, unconditional forgiveness is forgiveness that comes with no expectations of the person who caused harm. This means that we forgive the person regardless of whether they ever take responsibility, apologize, or try to make amends. So how do we forgive someone? My favorite approach is a mindful forgiveness approach. We first look at the other person as an imperfect being who makes mistakes that may even include hurting people on purpose. But we remember the popular quote, "Hurt people hurt people." It's true that the reason why people hurt others is because of the hurt that is inside of them. It's not about you. When you choose not to forgive them, you make their pain about you and decide to carry it with you as well. To forgive, then, is to let go of the hurt that was projected onto you. It is to have compassion for their hurt, even if it spills onto you. It is to think loving thoughts about them in hopes that this may help dissolve their hurt and their need to spread it to others. And it is letting go, either of the situation or the relationship, wanting only the best for the other person and yourself as you move forward. If you want to get forgiveness from someone, there are some helpful questions to ask yourself. First, you can check to see whether you are rationalizing that your behavior was okay. Are you holding on to the belief that you didn't do anything wrong? You might also ask yourself if you're hesitating to take full responsibility for your role in what happened. Finally, you can check to see if you have any judgments of the other person that might make it hard to ask for forgiveness. It might help to talk about your answers to these questions with a trusted friend, loved one, or mentor before you ask for forgiveness. Once you have answered those questions to your own satisfaction, here are 4 steps you can use to get forgiveness from someone else. 1. Take responsibility. Acknowledge what you did and what the consequences were for the other person. Do not focus on any responsibility they might share for what happened, even if you think they are to blame. 2. Express remorse. Tell the other person how you feel when you think about what you did. If possible, try to focus more on feelings of regret than feelings of shame or guilt, because expressing shame might bring the focus back on your emotions. 3. Offer amends. Say you would like to make things better and ask the other person what might help. Come prepared with a few ideas of your own. Describe how you plan to change your own behavior. And 4. Describe your hopes for the future of your relationship. Maybe you hope the other person will overcome the trust issues they've developed with you, or that you can be friends again someday. Remember, though, the person doing the forgiving decides whether to forgive and what kind of relationship they want in the future. Next, let's talk about self-forgiveness. Self-forgiveness is very similar to forgiving someone else. Forgiving yourself involves taking responsibility for harm you have caused yourself, saying that you are sorry, figuring out how to make amends, and then following through on those amends. Just as when you forgive someone else, you come to feel better about that person, yourself, and self-forgiveness can bring you increased feelings of self-compassion, self-acceptance, and self-respect. When we self-forgive, we often feel more connected to ourselves and have an easier time thinking about what we did or being around the people we affected. Forgiveness is an essential tool for reducing feelings of anger and resentment. Whether you are forgiving yourself or someone else, you give yourself a chance to feel better and live a healthier life each time you put forgiveness into practice. The more you practice forgiveness, the more quickly other people may forgive you too. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and check out our free resources at berkeleywellbeing.com.